Hello folks. So this is a little video I made as far as how the procedure to rebuild or replace the shifting mechanism in a Sram Doubletap shifter. What I'm doing here basically is, if you were to have just pulled this off the bike, basically you want to pull it all the way off the bike and then take the cables out. And here we're basically taking the hood off. I just used sprayed a little Windex under there to get it loosened up. I mean, this may actually be easier to take that off before you remove the shifter from the bike. And then there's a set of 3 screws that you'll remove with the small Phillips screwdriver here on the inside facing plate, and then from there it will expose the shifting mechanism. And so typically this point right here this is actually a broken shift lever that I'm replacing, and that's pretty well the weak point on SRAM shifters. If they ever break, is normally it's going to be that part there. I mean, this was kind of seemed like an issue they had with the 2nd generation shifters, but since then I've seen very little that have had this issue. But this is a donor shifter that I got out of a bike that had crashed and broke one of the brake lever tabs off. So basically the brake system was jacked up, but the shifting mechanism was good. So we basically just we're doing a little transplant from one to the other there. And the Apex, Rival, Force, they're all, I think, basically use the same mechanism, where I know it's all interchangeable. But first step, there's a small screw on the other side of the shift body that you want to basically back out just to the point where there's a little pin that runs through there. You don't have to necessarily take the screw all the way out, but back it up just enough to get that pin through. And then I'm just using a kind of a L-shaped pick here that you could use an Allen wrench or something. But what you want to do is you can access the pin on this side, and you want to just push it to the point where you can get that pin to come out about 1/4 inch, 6 millimeters or so, just enough to grab a hold of it with some needle nose pliers, which pushed it through there. So now we can grab it with the pliers and just pull it the rest of the way out. It's pretty simple. These shifters are actually probably the simplest shifters to rebuild, as far as easier than the Campies. I would say there's so few parts to them. But anyway, I'm going to pull this one all the way apart. If you were going to just replace that shifter, you wouldn't have to necessarily take off the little ratchet wheel here. But basically you got a little ratchet wheel, and it's got one little coil spring, and then the plastic part that holds the cable. And then the other assembly is the actual shifter assembly here. So that's our bad one. You can see where it's, the little pivot there. That's where they always break. And then what happens is you try to shift it to a lower gear, and it just won't quite grab in. So anyway, I've got the shifter body. I cleaned it all up and everything. And so basically you got the little nub of the spring. It goes in the little hole in the plastic part, and then you've got the little L bend on the end of the spring there, and it just sits onto a little shelf there on the edge of the body there. So basically you just want to, there's a little spring lever in the bottom of the shift body, so you want to pull that back and then just drop your ratchet wheel in there. And this is probably the most difficult part, is to actually get it in the right position. I just took a pick and stuck it into where the cable goes through, and just actually ratchet that into the starting position. And then from there you can just kind of weasel that pin back in there, and basically you want to push it through to the point where it's just flush with the end of the ratchet ring there, which I pushed it a little further. So you want to basically just, normally that'll happen, just push it towards flush with the end of the little wheel there, and then you can slip your shifter body in. And another thing, this is an older, like a 2nd generation 10-speed shifter. Even the oldest to the current 11-speed models now are basically this same type thing to disassemble them, or if you're going to switch this part out, or just for general maintenance, if you want to clean that up, if it's on a cyclocross bike or whatever. But So anyway, just push your shifter piece in. There's a little spring lever on the bottom of the shift lever, and it's just going to sit right under the little spring clip on the that's in the shifter body. So basically, you'll want to push that through. Once you get it engaged there, I just used a 3mm Allen wrench to push it the rest of the way. Basically, you want to push it just to where it stops, and once you get that in there, you may make sure the shifting's working, but from there, once it's in, go ahead and screw your little screw in that holds the pin in place. Basically, that just protrudes through the little the hole where the pin slips in, so it keeps it from backing out. So yeah, got it all lubed up. Put some, you can use either like a Fieldwood Tenacious Oil or some of that green Finish Line lube. Works pretty good for these shifter mechanisms. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Check it, make sure it's everything operates freely, and then put your cover back on, bolt it up to the bike, and then basically that's it. You're good to go. It's pretty simple. So thanks for watching.